Welcome to another episode of Top 10 Comics on a $20 Budget. With so many great comics out there, it can be hard to know just where to start. That's why every quarter I put together a brand new list of some of the best comics you can get for $20, $50, and even $100. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the world of comics, there's something for everybody in this list. So, without further ado, let's dive into the top 10 comic books for a $20 budget in the winter of 2023. Kicking off the list is the first full appearance of the character that would blow up DC Comics in the 1990s, Doomsday. His first appearance being Superman, the Man of Steel, number 19. Doomsday introduction was long and drawn out, as he had a cameo in issue 17, appeared throughout issue 18 inside probably one of the 90s worst designed suits, and then finally in issue 19, we get to see Doomsday himself. So there's kind of an argument to be made for both Man of Steel 18 and Man of Steel 19 for his first appearance, but for the sake of this video, we're calling it 19. Published in January 1993, Man of Steel 19 was written by Louise Simonson and drawn by John Bogdanove. This issue is where the fight between Doomsday and Superman really kicks off, and when we pick it back up over in Superman 75, neither one of the characters is having a good day. With an abundance of copies floating around of this issue and pretty much every other issue that made up the Death of Superman storyline, Man of Steel 19 remains budget-friendly with its $20 price tag. One of the more persistent rumors I've been hearing regarding the MCU lately is that Robert Downey Jr. may be returning to the MCU as some sort of holographic artificial intelligence. As luck would have it, a Tony Stark projection AI is actually Marvel Comics canon. Our number 9 book, Infamous Iron Man number 1, is the first appearance of the comic version of this Stark AI. Published in July 2017, Infamous Iron Man number 1 was part of the Marvel Now relaunch. The series also reunited artist Alex Maleev and writer Brian Michael Bendis, who had previously worked together on the second volume of Daredevil. Infamous Iron Man is the Iron Man equivalent to Superior Spider-Man, where Dr. Octopus assumes the identity of Spider-Man after basically tricking Peter Parker or trapping him in his own failing body, but I digress. In Infamous Iron Man number 1, Dr. Doom assumes the role of Iron Man. Recent sales for this issue have primarily been between $15 and $20, which is just right for our $20 budget. A good cover and a reasonable price tag make for a great find while you're digging through back issue boxes. Throw in a little bit of Star Wars characters and a Shakespeare reference, and you've got yourself an easy pickup. Such is the case for our number 8 book, Star Wars Tales number 6. This 68-page Dark Horse Star Wars book contains 6 different stories ranging from 8 to 12 pages in length, but it's the final story, Thank the Maker, that we can thank for the source material for this cover. The Killian Plunkett cover is an homage to one of the most famous scenes in William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Star Wars Tales number 6 was published in December 2000 and featured several well-known creators including Eric Powell and Sergio Aragonés. But if Shakespeare isn't your thing, there's also a variant cover out there that features Yoda for this issue, but I've got to give this one to the A cover. Regardless of your preference, you should be able to pick up either cover for your collection for only $15. In comic books, one of the oldest tricks in the book for a superhero is to have a sidekick. Oftentimes the sidekick is a younger character and can help soften the older, perhaps even darker main hero. Batman has Robin, Captain America had Bucky, Snoopy had Woodstock, and in our number 7 book, Cable and Deadpool number 38, we get introduced to Deadpool's sidekick, Bob, agent of Hydra. Now, Bob isn't really your standard issue sidekick, which is what really makes him perfect for Deadpool. Bob was talked into joining Hydra by his wife due to his inability to keep a job. And as you might imagine, that's not really where Bob's gullibility ended. Deadpool was able to convince Bob into helping him rescue Agent X, just further proving that Bob can't really hold down a job, even with a questionable outfit like Hydra. Cable and Deadpool 38's story was written by Deadpool co-creator Fabian Nicieza, the interior art was drawn by Riley Brown, and Scotty Young provided the cover to this May 2007 issue. The price tag for Cable and Deadpool 38 is quite nice at only $12, and additionally, with a little bit of luck, I suspect you could probably dig this book out of a discount box somewhere. One of the most fun books that used to come out every year was an Eisner Award-winning Halloween-themed anthology issue put out by Bongo Comics back from 1995 to 2017 called Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror. Haunting the number 6 spot is Treehouse of Horror number 11. I'll be straight with you. For $20, you were getting 68 pages worth of stories from some of the best creators to ever churn out spooky tales. Amongst the creators who contributed to this issue are Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, Lynn Wein, Bernie Wrightson, Angelo Torres, John Severin, and Al Williamson. So to break that down for you, you have the creative team that gave us Blade and Wolfman and Colan providing a vampire story, the creative team behind Swamp Thing giving us a story about a slushy monster in Wein and Wrightston, and then across 4 other stories are 3 EC Comics artists contributing pencils and inks in Torres, Severin, and Williamson. Bill Morrison is all over this book as well, quite literally, as he provided both covers for this flip book, one of which is an homage to Tales from the Crypt number 41. Treehouse of Horror number 11 was published in October 2015, and I think it just got added to my want list. The second and presumably final Quantum Mania trailer dropped earlier this week, and at long last we caught a glimpse of MODOK, one of the weirdest Marvel characters ever created. When you see MODOK, you kind of just have to stop and ask yourself, what happened to this guy? Well, floating in at the number 5 spot is the book that will answer that question for you, Captain America 133. Published in January 1971, Cap 133's story includes the origin of MODOK. The creative team for this issue reads like a who's who of the Marvel bullpen. We've got Stan Lee on the script, Gene Colan on the interior pencils, and Dick Ayers on the interior inks, while Marie Severin provided the cover pencils and was inked by Sal Buscema. As MODOK unleashes his killer robot on Harlem, Captain America and the Falcon team up to foil MODOK's plans. At the end of the issue, Cap tells Falcon he has finally found a partner. I guess his brain was still a little frosty at that point, because I don't know how else you would explain Cap disrespecting Bucky like that. But anyway, when Captain America 134 hit the newsstand, the series had been renamed Captain America and the Falcon, making the partnership official. As of the recording of this video, you can pick up a copy of Cap 133 for between $20 and $25. Depending on how nice of a copy you want, you may have to stretch past our $20 budget just a bit, or be a little patient. 2 of the biggest sci-fi IPs were picked up by Dark Horse back in the late 80s. At the time, Aliens and Predator were fantastic standalone properties, and then one day, somebody had a crazy idea. What if the universe's greatest hunters faced it off against the universe's most dangerous creatures? And just like that, Aliens vs. Predator was born. In our number 4 book, Dark Horse Presents number 36. Dark Horse Presents was Dark Horse's flagship title and an anthology series that ran for 157 issues in its first volume. This issue was published in February 1990. The Aliens vs. Predator story was written by Randy Stanley and drawn by Philip Norwood. The issue was released with an A and a B cover. The A cover was drawn by Chris Warner, while the B cover was painted by Dave Dorman. This first AVP story was only 9 pages long, but it left an impression. Then, when Predator 2 hit the theaters in November 1990 and a xenomorph skull was spotted on the Predator's trophy wall, this matchup really got some buzz behind it. 33 years later, we've had a number of comics, video games, toy lines, and movies showcasing this matchup, and with rumors of another bout on the horizon, there looks to be no peace in sight between the aliens and the Predators. Are you a Venom or a Black Suit fan, but books like Secret Wars 8, ASM 252, ASM 300 are outside of your budget? Well, if that's you, then check out our number 3 book, SpiderMan Adventures number 9. This issue is part 2 of the symbiote story adaptation from the Fox cartoon series. In SpiderMan Adventures 9, we get a lot of Black Suit Spidey action, and we're also treated to an animated series Venom cameo. This issue was published in August 1995, just a little over 6 months after the Alien Costume Part 2 episode of the Spider-Man animated series debuted on Fox. The story was adapted by Nelson Yomtov, and the issue was drawn by Alex Saviuk. In the current market, you can pick up a copy of this book for around $15, While the previous and following issues will run you a bit more, issue 8's going for approximately $40 and issue 10 for around $30, making SpiderMan Adventures number 9 the budget-friendly issue of this arc. Dropping into the runner-up spot is Batman 638. In this issue, which is part 4 of the Under the Hood story arc, the Red Hood who returned in Batman 635 is revealed to be Jason Todd. Apparently that beating the Joker gave him back in Batman 428 wasn't as lethal as we all thought it was. Published in May 2005, Batman 638's story was written by Judd Winnick and was drawn by Doug Mankey. The cover was painted by Matt Wagner, who you may recognize from his creator-owned property Grendel. The cool thing about this book is that the second printing cover is drawn from the opposite perspective from the first printing. So whereas you see a shocked Batman realizing who is under the hood on the first print, with the second print, you see Jason Todd removing his mask. And the best part of that is you can get either one of these covers for just $20. Topping the top 10 comics on a $20 budget list for the winter of 2023 is West Coast Avengers number 1. In June 1982, Marvel unlocked the secret to success as a comic book publisher, the miniseries. Marvel Superheroes Contest of Champions was the first limited series put out by Marvel, and from that point on, they never looked back. In September 1984, the West Coast Avengers miniseries kicked off with the release of issue number 1, and it featured the first appearance of the West Coast Avengers. A team consisted of Hawkeye, Wonder Man, Tigra, Mockingbird, and the Rhodey Rhodes version of Iron Man. With the increasing roster of MCU characters, it's really only a matter of time before another Avengers team gets spun up, and the West Coast Avengers seem like the most likely candidates for that. Written by Roger Stern, with cover and interior art from Bob Hall, the story was aptly titled Avengers Assemble. A budget-friendly entry, you can pick up a copy of this one for just $15. It's hard to believe that we're already coming up on the comics to invest in before it's too late video for winter. That means it's just a few weeks from when we'll be looking ahead to the spring months. And spring means a couple of different things for the Como team. This year, our first convention is in mid-March, which means that we have about 9 weeks left to revamp our convention stock before the show. At the same time, I bought a huge collection last November that I've been processing for weeks that we're going to try and get ready before we hit the road as well. I'm planning on doing a video on that haul soon, but now that I finally made it all the way through the collection, I can sit down and put together a video sharing exactly what I bought with you. Full disclosure, until we finished getting through it about a week or so ago, I had no idea what all I'd bought. So if I miss an upload or post outside of my usual 9 a.m. Saturday morning time, just know that I'm still here grinding away behind the scenes, trying to get ready to get back on the road. For now, I can confirm that I will be setting up at Planet Comic Con in Kansas City. In May, I will be at the Indiana Comic Convention in Indianapolis. If you're in the area, I hope to see you at one of these shows later this year. Collect responsibly, and I'll see you in the next video.